And we're following the breaking news this afternoon. 4 people are dead, 3 others hurt after a suspected smuggler led Border Patrol on a chase. Right now we want to go to Encinal off of Highway 44 and I-35. That's where reporter Sue Kalberg is live at the scene. Sue, what can you tell us?
I can tell you this is still a very active scene that got started at 8:30 this morning. You can still see the vehicle that was involved in this incident is here in this parking lot of the truck stop where a smuggling operation ended badly. I'm here with Lieutenant Angel Esparza, and he is the Public Information Officer for the City of Encinal. What can you tell me about this?
This event transpired this morning around 8:30. Our officers received a request for assistance in a vehicle pursuit that was heading northbound on Interstate 35. When our officers came across the vehicle, at that same time, it was involved in a motor vehicle collision where it ended here at the Love's truck stop. Our officers immediately went into rescue and render aid mode on a mission to help the victims that were inside the vehicle, and the best life-saving efforts were conducted by all the first responders on scene.
All right, guys, so we have a border crisis on our hands that the mainstream liberal media once again is ignoring. And this time, the border crisis doesn't just have to do with the fact that we have an unprecedented number of migrants, illegals that are crossing the border and coming into this country, and we have no idea where the hell they are, what they're doing, what they're up to. We're actually giving them resources and telephones and all types of stuff and just letting them go throughout the country free. But we also have a human smuggling crisis in which you have coyotes and criminals trying to smuggle children into this country because the Biden administration has incentivized them to do so with their soft on the border rhetoric that they use during the Democrat primary to appeal to the extremists in their party. And now, lo and behold, there's a lot of confusion about what Biden's policies are at the border, okay? Is it actually easier to get into this country illegally under the Biden administration than it was Trump or not? The consensus seems to be yes, because Biden is soft on the borders. He's soft. And because of that, you have these smugglers that are saying, hey, you know what? We think it's easier. We're actually going to go and grab kids, okay, and try to bring people in as families, putting them on this dangerous journey to the United States because, again, it has become an industry under the Biden administration, a thriving industry, and people are losing their lives. There are severe consequences for this, okay? Namely, we just saw one of the huge consequences of this when it came to the story about the 50 or so migrants who died in a tractor trailer from probably, heat-related causes as they were being smuggled into the United States. So with that being said, we have a Guatemalan president coming out here and ripping Joe Biden and Kamala Harris as responsible for the human smuggling crisis that, again, involves a lot of children getting snatched from their homes and taken to the southern border. So with that being said, let's start with Kamala Harris and Guatemalan President Alejandro Giammattei's issue with her, as Kamala is the border czar. She's supposed to be in charge of what's going on at the border. And it seems like she's not doing a very good job at her job, according to the president of Guatemala. Take a look.
President Joe Biden has appointed Vice President Kamala Harris to help address the root causes of migration, down to the origins within Guatemala. I know she has met with you before. Do you feel like Vice President Kamala Harris is doing a satisfactory job, or is there more that she could do to help with the root causes of migration?
Bueno, yo le podría decir que no conozco cuáles son las atribuciones de la vicepresidenta Kamala Harris con respecto a los programas con nosotros. La relación, pues yo la última vez que hablé con la vicepresidenta Kamala Harris fue el 7 de enero de este año y se refirió a que no quería que yo nombrara a la fiscal general. No hablamos del tráfico de personas. Es la única vez que he hablado con ella, digamos, desde que fue a Guatemala y el tema no fue la inmigración. Yo sí creo que hace falta una mayor comunicación entre el gobierno de los Estados Unidos y nuestro gobierno, por lo menos. O sea, me imagino que será igual que en los otros países, pero sí hace falta, porque hace falta alinear las leyes contra el coyotaje, hace falta realmente definir las acciones que el gobierno de los Estados Unidos va a hacer para procurar empleo, para procurar desarrollo humano en la región y lograr que disminuya la migración. No es una lucha que se pueda ganar de la noche a la mañana, pero se tienen que sentar las bases. Y pasan los meses y nosotros no miramos pues ninguna acción.
Yeah, so that's bad, right? That is very, very, very damning of the Guatemalan president to say about Kamala Harris. Let me tell you the reason why is because a lot of times, guys, you see these leaders, right? Especially when they're supposed to be partners of the United States, they don't come out here and just openly rip the vice president or one of the leaders of the United States, especially when they're currently in negotiations and talking to them about certain key issues. The fact that this guy has come out here and comfortably ripped Kamala Harris, and we're about to get into him ripping Joe Biden as well too. The fact that he has ripped them publicly in an interview with a right-wing news outlet tells you exactly what you need to know about Kamala Harris and her efforts to actually try to fix the border crisis, to fix the human smuggling crisis that is going on. She has not done anything at all. She simply does not care. It sounds like she simply does not care about this issue at all, according to the president of Guatemala. She doesn't care. She's not concerned about it. Not a big deal to her. Okay? And ultimately, at the end of the day, this president is saying that we need greater communication, better communication from Kamala Harris. And all I got to say is good luck with that.
I've said I'm going to go to the border. And
when are you going to the border, Vice President?
The administration has asked. I'm not finished. I've said I'm going to the border.
Just quickly put a button.
Okay.
Do you have any plans to visit the border?
At some point, we are going to the border. We've been to the border. So this whole thing about the border, we've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I mean, I don't understand the point that you're making. I'm not discounting the importance of the border.
Well,
The governor and we were all doing a tour of the library here and talking about the significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time in terms of what we need to do to lay these wires, what we need to do to create these jobs. And there is such great significance to the passage of time when we think about a day in the life of our children.
Yeah, so Kamala Harris is definitely not the person that I would be looking towards for better and greater communication, okay? I think that's a lost cause on that one, okay? If you're depending on Kamala Harris to communicate anything with you clearly, you're lost, right? You're lost, okay? You've already failed. So that being said, let's move on to the Guatemalan president actually ripping the Biden administration in general for their border policies that he says are causing confusion and causing smugglers to, quote, grab kids. Let's read here. The Biden administration's messaging on immigration has created confusion that human smugglers and traffickers have exploited, Guatemalan President Alejandro Giammattei told the Daily Caller News Foundation in an interview. Giammattei said smugglers know it's easier to get people into the U.S. illegally under the Biden administration as a family, and that smugglers have used children, whether biological or not, in order to get their clients across the border. He mentioned the Biden administration's effort to codify the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals DACA program, which prevents migrants brought to the U.S. as children from being immediately deported, as exacerbating the problem. Okay, so this DACA program basically allows kids who've been brought to the United States as children, it prevents them from being deported, okay? And they've been trying to codify this into law, okay, to actually make it a law. However, the problem is that the incentive structure here is terrible. It incentivizes smugglers to use children, again, whether they're biological or not, in order to get them across the border with other clients, okay? So maybe you got people who don't necessarily have a family and they want to come into the U.S. as a family, right? And maybe having this child is going to lessen their chances of being deported. And maybe some family wants their child to have a better chance of being in the United States, whatever, and they're willing to send their child on this dangerous journey. What I'm saying is that it's a incentive structure that incentivizes kids being smuggled into the United States, right? That is what DACA does, okay? I mean, again, you don't want to be deporting children. However, when you don't do it, okay, when you tell them they can just stay if they come, again, that creates a very, very, very bad incentive structure. Quote, right now, there has been confusion with the messages. When they say they are going to codify all the children who have their parents here, what the coyotes say there is not convenient for them, the migrants. Let's see, grab the children and come. That child may be related or he may not be related. Warning, a child is the coyotes' misinterpreting way of manipulating people, Giammattei told the Daily Caller News Foundation. The Biden administration on May 2021 reversed DNA testing of migrants, a policy Trump introduced in September 2020, according to CNN. When the policy was introduced, it intended to expand biometric and DNA testing that guards against identity theft and thwarts fraudsters who are not who they claim to be. Former Deputy Department of Homeland Security Secretary Ken Cicinelli said. Okay, so under the Trump administration, they tried to fix this problem of having basically mismatched families with DNA testing and say, no, we're going to test you, right, to make sure that you're actually a real family and not just a bunch of people that have been joined together as a family to be smuggled into the United States. Giammattei said smugglers are exploiting the lack of checks on families, bringing in people who aren't related as family units when they cross the U.S.-Mexico border. In 2019, Suchini said that a pilot program for DNA testing of migrants had found that 30% of families to be fake and not actually related, according to the Austin American-Statesman. Wow, 30%. 30% of families are fake. But Biden said, Trump's a mean, evil guy. We're going to get rid of a common sense policy that we should be having. Yeah, we should be testing these people when they come to the border to make sure they're actually a real family. Yeah, so the rest of this article outlines how Giammattei has an issue with some of Biden's other policies, like lifting Title 42, which allows them to quickly expel migrants and illegals that come into this country because of the pandemic, right? So with that being said, what is the takeaway here? Well, the takeaway is that Biden has soft on the border policies, okay? He really does. And that is incentivizing kids to be smuggled into this country. It is incentivizing crime. It is incentivizing death. It is incentivizing violence. And quite honestly, it's kind of amazing to see how under President Trump, a lot of these people, some of these leaders in Central America actually like Trump better than Biden because of Trump's rhetoric and his policies at the border, because essentially for them, it helped decrease crime in some of these smuggling activities, these human trafficking activities that were going on in their country, right? Having soft borders incentivizes a lot of violence and crime in Central America, but that's something that Democrats don't really want to talk about. They don't want to talk about that. All they want to talk about is how evil you are and how inhumane you are when you say, hey, look, we got to turn people back around. We can't just be letting anybody into this country. We need tough borders. However, it is actually inhumane to have soft borders, right? It is actually inhumane to come out here and tell people to come to the United States just to either turn some of them around, okay, or to let some of them in. Again, incentivizing these smuggling operations to take place. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.